What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? See, I'm already off. I'm off to a rocky start. Yesterday was awesome. This is the John Browner podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm populating the show on the internet as we speak. Please do so if you have time to like, share, and repost the pod. I am here because Jackson Merrill has done it again for the third time in a row. And because we're getting ready for football season, I need to know who has the best quarterbacks in the division. Who's got the best quarterbacks in the division? Bye, out. Here's your boy. What's going on, everybody? I'm John Brown. This is the John Browner podcast. As normal, I start the show here. What's going on? We are here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And I got to tell you, if you want to talk to the show, the John Browner podcast at gmail.com is how you do it. Long form, short form, any form. If you can't fit it in the chat, or if you want me to take a second to read what you're trying to share with me, please do it at the John Browner podcast at gmail.com. Also, send your complaints there so I can put them in the trash because I'm the HR. So do what you want with that information. Also, shout out to all our friends at the Sporting Tribune. This show is broadcasted on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and X. One of our X accounts is the Sporting Tribune, who shares this show as it is broadcasted every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. The 1 hour I give you. They help to give me to you. So, again, as always, as well, as we continue to move forward, we're moving forward to 500 subscribers. We are growing slowly, but we are growing. Shout out to everybody who's become a member of the JBP. Shout out to the chat pack. We on the road to 500. We started March to 300. We got to 300. Now we on the road to 500. We are going to get to 500. Trust and believe me, I shall persevere with you by my side. Shout out to the chat pack, man. The chat pack come in. The chat pack, the co-host of this show. They know that. They get a shout out. They get ran down. They get their names called out. When the time comes for that portion of the show to take over, my co-host, the chat pack, will do so. But before I do anything, let's start today. Let's start here. Let's start here. Let's get this brought to you. Let's start here, brought to you by so-and-so. Listen, man. Yesterday was awesome. Yesterday was the celebration of Billy Ray's birthday from Scott and BR. And if anybody was there, you know the love that was in that room, the energy and the smiles that were in that room, the hugs, the stories, whether it be John Quintera or Hank Bauer or Hacksaw. It was an awesome event put together by so many people, led by Scott Kaplan. It was just unbelievable to just kind of hear the stories and relive the memories that people had of Billy Ray, and to hear some of the things and the stories I'd never heard before about how thankless he was with the things that he did that no one knew about. The stories that people told yesterday were phenomenal. And if you were there, I appreciate you showing up. You know, if you got the mic and you shared the story, I appreciate it. His family appreciate it. Just the love and the energy to see people out and supporting Billy Ray and just talking about the good times of his life, and to hear people all kind of really say the same thing about him, as how he was such a family man, how much he loved his wife, how much he loved his daughter, and how much he loved his community. I mean, those things alone in itself it was spectacular to hear. I was happy to be there. I drank a lot of Coors Lights. I could not, in good conscience, eat a jalapeno burger with barbecue sauce because I would be absent on the show today. So that's where we're starting. We're starting with all the great friends who come in this show or have been a part of Kaplan and Crew or Scott and BR that were there yesterday. It was a beautiful event. I remember, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, I saw Lisa there. I saw Graham there. I saw I saw I saw so many people. I saw Requested. I saw so many people there whose names I literally cannot remember. Michael Umbacher. I saw so many people there yesterday that I can't sit here and name them all. I saw shout out to Brenda, our old friend from 1090. Shout out to Brenda. Just so many people, man. So many people were there. So much love was in that room, man. And so shout out to everybody who came through and told a story about Billy Ray, or just, some people drove 3 hours to be a part of it, man. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. Shout out to David P. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. Some of the stories that were told, I think of all the stories that were told, I think my favorite story was when Billy Ray was asked to be the honorary captain for a soccer team, a local team here. And out of his own time, they got in contact with him. And true to form, man, he showed up and was honorary captain, man. But those were just the things that he did. That was, that was he would crush your hand. Everybody told the same story about the absolutely crushing of the hand. Few people told the story of the smashing of the knuckles, because he would knuckle you and really knuckle your hand. So it was a beautiful day. It was just right to celebrate his birthday, man. It really was. From what I knew about him and the time I spent with him, I think he absolutely would have enjoyed the love and the energy that was there. Um, so it was great. His funeral, his celebration of life, his funeral is at the Rock Church. To come later. I think it's on somewhere. I think it's the 20th or the 22nd. I can get those details and share them with you. I don't know how public the funeral is, but if it's at the Rock Church, I'm pretty sure people will get an opportunity to, say their piece, and that'll be appreciated and awesome. Um, but yeah, man, it was a great celebration, man. And so that's where we'll start. That's where we'll start, and then from there, we'll go here. We'll go here. Let's transition into some sports. Now, as I all know, I always save the Padre information for later in the show because it takes time for people to get here. And I got tired of people showing up being like, yo, hey, man, did we talk about the Padres already? So I try to save that more toward the end of the show. So let's dig into this. Let's dig into this quarterback question. I was on hold. Graham said I was what? You were on Fox 5. How'd I look, Graham? How are my comments on Fox 5, Graham? I didn't get a chance to see them. I'll look them up later in the day. But yeah, Fox 5 did a great piece. I saw 10 News was there asking questions. And so I'm pretty sure, the local affiliates that we all spoke to did a great job of telling the story of the event. And so, yeah, man. Coach Al, let's start with the Raiders. Okay. Shout out to the chat pack. Let's talk about who has the best quarterbacks in division. Okay. Let's eliminate a couple of teams, a couple of divisions. The AFC South, thank you for coming. Have a good day. You're not in the conversation. The NFC South, thank you for coming. Have a good day. You are not in the conversation. But whether it be from the AFC South or the NFC South, whether it be CJ Stroud, whether it be Tyler Shuck, whether it be Bryce Young, whether it be the backup that Miami, I mean, I guess that's the AFC East, so they don't count. But I should probably throw the AFC East out of this too, because the Jets quarterback and the Dolphins quarterback are pointless. So that's down to it. You know what? Yeah, AFC East. I mean, I'm sorry, AFC East. Thanks for coming. Have a good day. Josh Allen's phenomenal. Drake May had a great year last year. Let's see him do it again. But the other two quarterbacks, the Jets quarterback and the Dolphins quarterback, you out. Hey, we ain't going to spend 10 minutes talking about y'all. We ain't going to spend no time going back and forth because football season is warming up and we talk about the contenders. The Bills are a contender. And by the way, And the one more thing, I'm going to get to the Bills because the Buffalo Bills organization, I got to pop the trunk on them. I got to pop the trunk and one more thing on the Bills organization because, buddy, wait until you see the video I got for y'all here today. But to continue on, let's start who's got the best quarterbacks in the division with the NFC East. The Cowboys have Dak Prescott. The Commanders have Jaden Daniels. The Eagles have Jalen Hurts, and and the Giants have Jackson Dart. Now, that's not, that ain't number one, but that's a good. You got a good young, spry, energetic quarterback. You got a vet in Dak. You got a guy coming off an injury in Jaden McDaniels, and you got a proven Super Bowl winner in Jalen Hurts. Of those four teams, those are really good, solid places to start for quarterback. So the NFC East, where's my sheet? So let me start writing these down. So the NFC East, I'll give them, because I think this is gonna come down to two divisions, and I think you got to be shocked to see the two. The NFC East, I'm gonna give them out of 10, I'm gonna give them a 7. Because I like those teams. I like those quarterbacks. I like their ability to get the job done and continue to win. We've already said the AFC East is a no-go, 0. Thank you for coming. The AFC South, 0. Thank you for coming. The NFC South, thank you for coming. Let's do the NFC North. In the NFC North, you got the Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams. You got the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love. You got the Lions with Jared Goff, and you got the Minnesota Vikings with Kyler Murray or J.J. McCarthy. Now, whoever wins this, the fact that people think this is a quarterback battle should hurt this division, but we all know that Kyler Murray wouldn't be there if this was an actual competition. So because of that, I'm gonna give them a 9.5. I'm gonna give them a 9.5. Just because we don't know about J.J. McCarthy, Kyler Murray, the fact that that's even a competition takes them down a bit. Now, let's move on to the NFC, the AFC North. Now, this is tough, but they lose points because of you-know-who. Cincinnati's got Joe Burrow. Baltimore's got Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh's got Aaron Rodgers. Cleveland's got Shedeur. In regards to whether you feel about Shedeur, the Flash, or whatever, his quarterback play last year, and I'm a huge fan, his quarterback play was subpar. He ain't got no weapons. Their coach was in flux. Stefanski clearly didn't want to play him. So that situation kind of played itself out. But I'm going to give them an 8 on the strength of Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson being the multiple-time MVP. Joe Burrow being to the Super Bowl. The Bengals always being in contention when he's upright. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to look like for the Steelers, so that kind of takes a little bit of wind out of their sails. So the AFC North gets an 8. Now, let's hit the AFC West. You got the Raiders, who don't know if they want to start Fernando Mendoza, which we beat the hell out of that dead horse one too many times. So let's not go down that road again. You got Patrick Mahomes coming off of a knee injury. Justin Herbert looks like he's ready to have an MVP season. And Bo Nix coming off of surgery. So of the 4 quarterbacks, 2 of them are coming off major surgeries, 1 ankle, 1 knee. Justin Herbert looks ready to run for MVP. And I want Fernando Mendoza to literally just be the opening day starter, man. Get it together. But I'm going to give him a 9.5. I'm gonna give him a 9.5 because I like Fernando Mendoza. I think that he is a real leader. I think that I think that what the I read an article earlier today about Aston Genty taking on more responsibility. I think that was a given. You got a rookie quarterback, you rebuilt your offensive line, you got the number one center on the market, and you bring in a coach who is at Clint Kubiak is absolutely dedicated to running the football. He's dedicated to running the football. And so the Raiders are going to look different. I don't know if they'll look competent, but they 100% will look different. And people keep laughing at me, man, but I'm telling y'all, I feel like Justin Herbert is about to give y'all an MVP season. When you look around at the weapons that he has, Quentin Johnston, Lil Didi McConkey, you got a tight end who popped at the end of last year, but didn't really, who is he? In the offseason, you had all these wide receivers available. You had all these guys available for trade. They didn't get none of them. They got Mike McDaniel. So I genuinely think that the addition of Mike McDaniel, in addition with what they have and what Herbert was able to do with nothing and a very bland offense last year, because if you remember, toward the end of the season, the offense became very predictable with the offensive line injuries that they had, the backfield injuries that they had, and Justin Herbert was playing with a sling on his hand, and they still made the playoffs. I think he missed one game last year, and they missed that game at the end of the season because they needed him to. So I think of all the teams that really, really have something, or players who really have something to prove, and I think they're actually going to be able to pull it off because they've helped him. For people, see, look, the Affy, this is what I'm talking about. If the stop is about Justin Herbert being the MVP, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is what people will not admit. He gets a lot of love around the NFL. Justin Herbert gets a lot of love around the NFL. And the people who fire shots at him do it because so many people love him. The pushback on Justin Herbert solely comes from the fact that so many people like him. All they say, oh, well, he hasn't won anything. He hasn't won anything. Oh, he's stunk in the playoffs. He's done that with no weapons. The best wide receiver Justin Herbert has ever had was an old Keenan Allen. Quentin Johnston is not Quentin Johnston has rebounded from being a bust, but he's not an elite wide receiver in no way, shape, or form. Little Didi McConkey too tiny to be an elite wide receiver. And when Mario Hampton coming back ready to run, Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. And again, Mike McDaniel will put some sauce into this offense that's going to give it an extra kick. That's just my outlook on the Chargers this year. The defense will be solid. I think there were probably one or two games at an 18 last year that the game just got away from them. But other than that, the defense was in every game. They always were prepared to play on the defensive side of the ball. You just got to score. You got to score. You got to put points on the board. You got to have weapons. And with this offensive line coming back, man, I think the run game, in addition to Herbert's play action, I think you're going to see a massive, massive change. I think they're going to throw a lot of motion in there. I think Harbaugh loves to say the tight end, the offensive line is a weapon. Offensive linemen are weapons. I think you're going to see that. I don't think they'll be catching passes, but I think he's going to get this offensive line on the move, man. I think we really finna see something. I think we really finna see something from this Chargers offense, but, I gave him a 9.5 for the division because, again, I like Fernando Mendoza a lot. I have to see Patrick Mahomes come off this injury. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but he's got to come off the injury. I got to see those legs moving again. And I got to see Bo Nix. I got to see Bo Nix moving again, too, because an ankle injury that he had. Guys get ankles. Guys get knees. I need to see you on the field in live action moving before I give you an up or a down, man. But on the strength of the career that these guys have had, 9.5 for the division. Now let's do some AFC, NFC West. You got Obviously, the Cardinals have Jacoby Brissett or Carson Beck, by the way. Carson Beck looked great. So maybe Carson Beck. We'll see. Obviously, you know who the Rams have in Matthew Stafford. You know what they have. We know I'm not a fan of Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy has been very successful with the 49ers, even though I believe anybody can be successful with the 49ers because of the quarterback and the coach combination that they have there has always been successful with Kyle Shanahan. And listen, I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy. I'm just not. But the guy won the Super Bowl. So you got to at least give him his Brad Johnson. You got to give him his Trent Dilfer Award. I got to give him respect. But that don't mean I got to rate him high. So the NFC West with no quarterback in Phoenix, the Cardinals, in my opinion, have no quarterback figured out yet. We got to see. Well, we like Brock Purdy, and Sam Darnold did win the Super Bowl. And Matthew Stafford is coming off an MVP and a loaded offense. I'm a 9.5. The Cardinals really hurt them. They were my only possible 10. So we got 3 9.5s. We got the NFC North. We got the AFC West. And we got the AFC North and the AFC and the NFC. NFC North. West. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get these. It's a lot of letters, man. Affy, you smoking real good this morning. You smoking hella good if you think Geno Smith is better than Herbert. Buddy, did you say that just so you can get clicked on? Geno, we didn't even waste our time talking about the AFC East. That's your boy Geno's home, dog. That's your boy Geno's home. So with 3 9.5s, me personally, I think these divisions will be defined by the lowest level of the quarterback. And of the worst quarterbacks, Kyler Murray which it sounds crazy to say, Kyler Murray for the Vikings in the NFC North. For the AFC West, the worst quarterback, I'm going to say Fernando Mendoza. And for the worst quarterback in the NFC West, I'm going to go whoever's playing for the Cardinals. Right? So of the weakest of the three, obviously it's the Cardinals. So they fall off. And I would just believe who's going to have a better year, Fernando Mendoza or Kyler Murray? Who's going to have a better year, Fernando Mendoza or Kyler Murray? And that's a very interesting conversation because I don't know the answer to that question. Now, me personally, I think it's going to be Kyler Murray because I don't know how much Fernando Mendoza is going to play. But if that's really the question we're asking, then that's kind of the answer. Because I think Kyler Murray wins that job. And when Kyler Murray wins that job, he's throwing to Justin Jefferson. He's throwing to Justin Jefferson. He's throwing to Jordan Addison. The Vikings head coach can do anything with any quarterback. If you give them a decent quarterback, if you give Kevin O'Connell a decent quarterback, he will get you 10 wins. I think Kyler Murray is way more than decent. Tito, this is a conversation that we have had on this show a couple times, and I feel the same way. I know you got to start Mendoza. The best chance for Mendoza to start his career off on a positive note is to beat the Miami Dolphins. Can you name the Miami Dolphins quarterback? Can you name the Miami Dolphins starting wide receiver duo? How about their tight end? Who's their coach? not starting Fernando Mendoza right out the gate to get a W against Miami, which again, I don't really see the point in getting Kirk Cousins another win in his career. Kirk Cousins is solidified for whatever Cousins is not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he first ballot at the bank. Kirk Cousins is a respectable guy. I think if you're going to start the season off on a successful note, walking out of Miami with a win for Fernando Mendoza goes miles further than it does leaving the stadium with a win for Kirk Cousins. I think it builds something in that organization to get off on the right foot in week one. And if you waste that by giving that win, that easy layup to Kirk Cousins, because the first 6 weeks of the Raiders season is going to be tough, buddy. It's going to be tough. And if you waste that, after that, I don't know when you're going to get a win. So you got to start Mendoza. You have to, but I don't think they will because, every coach wants to try to have it be as easy as possible with the worst team, as opposed to just letting the worst team learn and experience. See what you have in that offensive line. Keep everything simple. Keep everything simple for Fernando Mendoza. We're going to run the ball 35, 40 times. Week one, our offensive line should win the game. If you ask me a trivia question of who the Dolphins coach was, and Jeff Hafley was his name, I would have lost that trivia question. I know it's Malik Willis because Malik Willis was out there poorly throwing during opening day for you threw out the first pitch for a Miami Marlins game, and it was wide right for your starting quarterback. That's not a good look, big fella. That's not a good look at all. So for me, I gotta give the nod. I think I'm gonna give the nod. That's a great listen. This is a very good question. They should let him finish the game. I don't know if that's see. If you're gonna play, let him play. If you're not gonna play, don't play him. Because I also believe that you should treat Kirk Cousins with a level of respect. If you put Kirk Cousins in there to start the game, unless he absolutely stinks, let him finish it. I don't think you bring in Fernando Mendoza to finish the game. I think if you start Fernando Mendoza, let it ride. If you start Kirk Cousins in that game, unless he is awful, and I don't think he will because I think the Dolphins are awful, let that thing go, man. Joseph Cabral said they announced today that Kyler Murray will be the starter. Told you. Excuse me. Told you. That wasn't really that was the worst kept secret in football. There's no way you bring Kyler Murray into your camp with JJ McCarthy unless your starting quarterback was going to be Kyler Murray. I've never liked JJ McCarthy. I've always thought JJ McCarthy was a bust. Yes, he did beat my Chicago Bears on I think it was a Monday night football game to start the season. I think it was week 2, if I'm not mistaken, the fourth quarter drive where he just kind of got hot and won the game. He's still living off that. JJ McCarthy's still living off that game he won on Monday night against the Bears. JJ McCarthy is ass, dog. JJ McCarthy is booty clapping cheeks. So now the division just got better because now you got, and so now that, to me, the NFC North is the winner. All their quarterbacks are healthy. Jordan Love is healthy. Obviously, Caleb Williams is healthy. Kyler Murray's announced. Obviously, Detroit's quarterback, Super Bowl, been to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff, always been respectable throughout his career. They have very good quarterback play. We don't know we don't know what the Chiefs wideouts look like. Last year they couldn't get open. That led to Patrick Mahomes running more than ever. In the NFC North, the Bears defense is not good. They're not going to repeat those turnovers again. The Lions are too often injured. So when we talk about divisions overall, that's how I think the NFC West is the best division overall, offensive and defensively. But from a quarterback play standpoint, the NFC North takes the cake for me, man. What y'all think? The NFC North takes the cake for me. I think this NFL season doesn't really have a lot of buzz to it. Like today's biggest story, outside of obviously people, these camps are coming together. You got a bunch of camps playing against each other, teams playing against each other. The big news was that Dexter Lawrence, I think it was Dexter Lawrence, or signed a deal with the Cowboys worth 120 something million. I think it was, or what? I think it was like 40 million a year. That goes to show you there's not much happening because they're trying to fake you into a Cowboy story. And y'all know we don't do Cowboy around here. Until they win the division by like week 9 or 10, we don't do Cowboy stories around here, buddy. We already did our one Cowboy story for the year. We ain't doing another one. Let me shout out the chat pack today, man. Shout out Ask Technology. Shout out Affy. Shout out David P. Already shouted out Graham. Shout out Michael Brown. Where else we in here? We got a lot of folks in here, man. Shout out to the Rigby family as always. Oh, hey, man. We had a Twitch bot come. I didn't even say what is up to the Twitch bot. Shout out to the Twitch bot that showed up. At least one always does. And now, Jackson Merrill has hit a home run 3 games in a row. Fernando Tatis Jr. has hit some, I think, monumental home runs so far in August. Is it time? Yesterday's win, yesterday's game alone, that's got to be the way. I talked about this yesterday. I'm going to repeat this again. The way that they won that game yesterday, that's got to be the way forward. It just has to be. The 2-run shot by Merrill in the 7th. After the Milwaukee Brewers had jumped with 2 in the second, Padres come back with 1 in the second, and then you basically get good baseball into the 7th inning, and one mistake flies over a changeup left over the plate. Bang. And that puts you in a position, again, you do it with power. That puts you in position to the Ty France home run in the 2nd inning, and then the Jackson Merrill home run, again, leading with power in Petco is much needed. So you get the 2-run home run in the 7th, and by doing that, you put the Padres in a position where I don't think anybody's going to beat them. If they find a way to take the lead after the 7th inning, the 8th inning and the 9th inning, the door is closing. It's going to be a combination of whoever and Miller. Repeat it again. It's going to be a combination of, yesterday was Motorhome. It's going to be whoever and Miller. And Miller has a 0.89 ERA. You already know what happens when Mason Miller checks in the game. It's over, man. WVC, we absolutely need to score more runs. You are 100% accurate about that. We have documented the inability for them to score. But when these are 2-1 games that they were losing earlier in the year. If you remember the formula that they usually do in a series, they lose a low-scoring game, they lose a high-scoring game, and then one of these games, they just run the score up. Losing 2-1 was the formula for yesterday's game, and Jackson Merrill broke that spell. Because if you think about the Padres season in its totality, and the thing that we've been most frustrated about is their inability to score runs. They've lost 2-1 too many times this year. They've been left scoreless too many times this year. And for them to be down 2-1 after the second inning through 5 innings after that, and for Jackson Merrill to come through with that two-run shot, I think that these are things that they are using to really build momentum going forward. I don't know where this leads. But that two-run shot by Jackson Merrill, that was huge. It was huge for him because he struggled with injuries this year. He struggled with batting average. He struggled with power. I think he's up to 19 home runs now. Yeah, Jackson Merrill's got 19 home runs this year. Ty France has 17 home runs. That's crazy. But Jackson Merrill hitting his 19th home run of the year. That's big. And it's when they're hitting these home runs. These aren't home runs to add to blowouts. These aren't home runs to while you're being blown out. This was a home run to give them the lead. If the Padres take the lead after the seventh inning, those games are over. Those games oftentimes, more times than not, those games are over. Tyreek Hill plays for nobody, B. Tom. That leg ain't working. He free. Oh no, maybe he's free to be traded for, but I don't see him playing for the Dolphins ever again. I gotta check the status of Tyreek Hill, but that's a good question. Man, but Jackson Merrill hitting 3 home runs. The Padres finding a way late in the ball game to get the ball to Mason Miller. This has to be the way, man. You've got to get to the seventh inning with the lead. The Padres do that. The Padres are going to be in good shape when it comes to who can come out on top in the wild card. Because now the wild card teams are heating up. The Cubs have won 7 of the last 10. The Diamondbacks have won 6 of the last 10. The Phillies have won 7 of the last 10. The Padres have won 7 of the last 10. All streaks, all winning at the right time. And I said in this Brewers series, don't get swept. That was my key to the series. That was my number one thing in the series. After taking care of business against the Rangers, after taking care of business before that, don't get swept because of what you have coming ahead of you. If you can manage your way through these and you don't find yourself 3-4 game losing streaks, the Arizona will slip up. Because I think that's the team I got my eye on slipping up. It's Arizona. I think the Phillies will figure it out. The Phillies have found their way by getting Luis Ariz, man. He's been unbelievable. Just base activity, putting somebody on the plate before Harper, putting somebody on the bases before Schwarber. He's been great for them. Much as he was great for us, we just, the Padres, for whatever reason, they didn't like singles, I guess. So funny for a team who went short on power, they don't like singles. But we'll see, man. But I loved yesterday. I loved the way that Jackson Merrill came through, the energy that the crowd didn't have after that, the vibrancy from the dugout, by the way, which, I'm a big proponent of how people celebrate in the dugout. Having people top step, high-fiving, handshaking, dancing, joyous. Big win for the Padres yesterday. Yeah, I don't really put a lot of, big win quotations on regular season baseball games because there's so many of them. But that one felt good yesterday. That one felt good for the players. That one felt good for the team. It clearly felt good for the fans, for Jackson Merrill, and it's who came through. Because I told y'all, they didn't need to trade for a bat during the trade deadline. What they needed to do was get guys who they pay money to begin to hit. Jackson Merrill has begun to hit 3 home runs in 3 days. Manny's power has been here. Tatis has done what he's done all year. Ty France has 19 home runs. I think it was 19 home runs for Ty France. Somebody else hit a home run the other day. Who was it? Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets hit a home run. Yes, I mean he batted 213, but that's not the point. Gavin, this is gonna have to be done with power going forward, man. And the Padres have been one of the best teams in baseball post All-Star break which, is shocking to me, but I knew they always had it in them. It was a matter of will we see it. And you get some good news on the pitching front. Joe Musgrove, second rehab. He hadn't stomped off the mound like Pavetta. He says he feels good. He's not projecting any dates per se, but he says he feels good and he thinks he's going to return this year. And if you add Joe Musgrove to what they have, if you add Joe Musgrove to Michael King, to Walker Buehler, if you add these guys, and now you're starting to build a healthy rotation to come postseason when you have a three-man rotation, you can start bringing in the Walker Buehlers to give you an inning. Now you look like you're ready to compete. We'll see what Mize can do. And then he pitched, yeah. So Mize gave you 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 83 pitches. Gave up 1 monster home run to Ryan Braun. That thing was gargantuan. But nonetheless, 6 Ks. That's what you traded for. That's what you want. So that's a good space to be in, man. It really is. If you can get Nick Pavetta back, and you can get Joe Musgrove back, now we talking. Now we talking. You get Casey Mize, you get Robbie Ray, you get Michael King, you get Nick Pavetta, you get Joe Musgrove. Now we talking. Now the way you had this thing on paper to start the season, now it starts. Now guys can go back to their original place. When people were saying this was the best bullpen in baseball. But you've had to stretch so many of these guys now because of the injuries that you've had to your staff. And by the way, again, we're not going to see Yu Darvish, so don't even ask me a question about no Yu Darvish. But you now start to see, you start to look around. This is how they thought it would fall into place. Now, let me give y'all one more thing. The Buffalo Bills have a new stadium. And this might be the dumbest new stadium I've seen in a very, very, very long time. First of all, you build a brand new stadium in Orchard Park, New York. I think that's where the stadium is in Buffalo. I have got to tell you, for $2.2 billion, for $2.2 billion with a B, I hope they kept the receipt. There are people who are pissed about this new stadium because they're saying there are so many seats that you can't see the field. They're saying from a lot of these seats, you can't see the field. Imagine if this is your ticket. They're saying you can't see the field. For $2.2 billion, you can't see the field from some of these seats. For $2.2 billion, I want something that rivals SoFi. There's no reason whatsoever you can't build a stadium right now that rivals SoFi for $2.2 billion. They kept talking to me about, they keep showing you, listen, they got a broken table as a salute to the fans. Yeah, buddy, it'd help if they could see from their goddamn seats. There's no reason whatsoever you should be building a stadium in 2026 without a roof. It makes absolutely no sense. I can't say this enough. These are athletes at the top of the human physical pyramid. These are the biggest, strongest, fastest humans we have on this planet. And you're going to force them to play in the snow. And in Buffalo, it's like snow. You're going to force the 0.01% athlete to play in unsafe conditions where you cannot see the 40 times that people talk so much about. This stadium, they should be ashamed of themselves. This looks like this is a hot dog. This shit's so plain, dog. This shit is so plain. This is so cookie cutter. This is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. There is nothing special about this stadium. Nothing. There is nothing special about this stadium. I saw somebody take a tour of this stadium, and they're in the 400 level. So this is like the very, very top, right? But the very first seat at the 400 level. The barrier to stop you from falling over is 4 feet. So if I'm sitting, right, the barrier in front of me, which is less than 2 feet in front in distance from the seat to the barrier is about 2 feet. And then the barrier is 4 feet. You know how excited some of these people get during football games? Yeah, Graham, I saw this too, Graham, that there are no restrooms in the top sections. This is for $2.2 billion. By the way, in taxpayer money. Now, let me find out how much the taxpayers pay for this stadium. How much did the taxpayer pay for the Bills' new stadium? Let's see. The taxpayer, oh my God, the taxpayer contributed $850 million of their own money to this. The people of Buffalo love football so much in a time where you can't get anybody to cut a taxpayer check for a stadium. The people of Buffalo love the Bills so much that they gave $850 million to a mid-ass stadium with no bathrooms on the top level. With safety this stadium, see, now they need to do some digging. Now I'm asking questions. I'm glad I looked that up. This stadium looked like it cost about $850 million. This don't look like no $2 billion stadium. Where the billions at? Where the billions? Where's Pablo Torre when you need him? Show me where this costs $2.2 billion. I need to see the books. Show me where this stadium costs $2.2 billion with obstructed seats. Show me where this stadium costs $2.2 billion with no bathrooms on the top level. Show me where this stadium costs $2.2 billion and there are obstructed view seats. This stadium looks like it cost about $850 million. This is why the taxpayer doesn't want to pay for the stadium. Stan Kroenke pays him every penny of his own money to build that stadium. It's immaculate. Shout out to SoFi. The people of Buffalo give $850 million to a stadium, and it looks like a Cracker Jack box. It looks like those stadiums you pick on John Madden. I'm sorry, people of Buffalo. Y'all deserve better. Keep the receipt. $850 million. And y'all got a mid stadium. with no roof in Buffalo, New York. Embarrassment. Embarrassment. It's gonna be so cold there. It's gonna be so cold there, y'all. At least you'll have the obstructed wind. You'll have the wind blocked by the obstructed view seats. They built a stadium where you can't see the field from every seat. Somebody need to call a congressman. Call the governor. Where's Kathy Hochul? I think she's the mayor. I think she's the governor of New York. Nah, man, this ain't right. Nah, Biggie, see, nah. Shout out to Biggie. Biggie says, nah, they don't deserve better because they all act like they want to sit in the snow. So now, no sympathy for them. They deserve better than that, Biggie. The real fans sit at the top. Ain't no bathrooms up there. It's gonna be a lot of pissing in Miller Lite jars. How you gonna not put bathrooms at the top level, Biggie? How you gonna have every seat not see the field, Biggie? For $2.2 billion, dog. Yeah, no roof in Buffalo's a joke. It's a joke. But if that's what they want, give it to them. For $850 million, if they don't want a roof, don't give no roof, dog. Don't give no roof. But make sure all the seats can see the field. Make sure you got a place to piss on the third level, on the top level, dog. Make sure it meets the safety requirements. That stadium ain't worth no $2.2 billion. They got had. They got had, dog. I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Give me $2.2 billion. I'll build you a real nice stadium. The people of Buffalo bought the monorail from The Simpsons. See y'all tomorrow.